we have Jeffrey with us here. We had a technical hitch
We
with the
we
start,
made
but
it.
then we made it. We are here. So it's a wonderful day. This is technology, and you can expect things as we are moving on. But we are happy
This is
that you're
amazing.
here.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
So we will be running overboard, over the hour, and I hope that is not going to inconvenience you. That is at
Great.
10 and 15, you are going to be okay, yeah?
Fantastic.
Yeah, okay. So let's get moving. And apologies to anyone who has seen this as we are trying to set it up. But let me introduce again. This is Anthony on Book Talk at Book Place, and that reminds me that I have to share it with the group Book Talk because it's live on my profile. And yes, I'm sharing it now. And everyone who is watching, please, can you help us by sharing this video so that we can get as much audience as we possibly can? So with us here is none other than Jeffrey Martinovich, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
That's perfect. Thanks, Anthony.
Yes, you're most welcome. And please, can you tell us where you're from? That name is new to me.
Well, actually, the name is Serbian. Ovich
Okay.
means son of Martin, but I've lost connection with that whole lineage. I actually live in Norfolk, Virginia right now.
Okay. Ah, wonderful. Good to know. And yes, all the viewers, please know that Martin has written now. Now is Martin, just Martin, the son of Avich. Now I got it right. So
That's right,
he has
Martinovich.
written some books, and today we have the honor of getting to know one of the books, which is Just One More, and he's going to tell us much more about this book. So please tell us, how did this book come to be? And but first, before you even go to the book, you can tell us a bit more about yourself.
Sure, sure. I have a background, and I just grew up in the Midwest in Dayton, Ohio. I attended school at the Air Force Academy out in Colorado, so that set me on a military career, which brought me out here to Virginia. And I had 5 great years in being in the first Gulf War and on the Tactical Air Command staff here. And then I got out into the finance world and was lucky to have a lot of success. And then, as some things we can cover from here in the book, went through a lot of drama also. And so it's been a really long journey, and I've learned a lot of lessons. And what I'm trying to do with the book was to communicate many of these life lessons. I've written a few business books, which are about to be published, and I had about 15 lessons left over, which were more
Mm-hmm.
life than business. And
Okay.
so I wanted to convey those. And as someone like yourself with the great book Be Good for Good, is
Mm-hmm.
is we know that stories and parables are a great way to teach life lessons, and it's much more enjoyable for the reader. And so we created these 15 lessons into more of a contemporary parable, which kind of mirrored a lot of my experience the last decade. And it came together, and I was very fortunate that it's had a great reception. And that's how that all kind of came about.
Oh, wonderful. Good to hear that. So, in short, we are talking to an army man.
Excuse me?
We are talking to someone who's been in the army and fought in the Gulf.
Right, right, exactly. In the Air Force. And so
Yeah,
I'm a veteran, and I had the great honor of serving in the first Gulf War with
yeah.
a lot of amazing people.
Oh, you talk of amazing people going to war with some people, and you have some amazing people going to war together with. That's interesting.
Well, and I work in the defense industry today also, and we support a lot of charities for veterans, and it's just amazing what these young men and women do for our country, and the sacrifice they make. So I just think it's really important that we continue to support them when they come home, and we give them all the opportunities that they might have given up to
Mm-hmm.
make sure we stay a great free nation ourselves.
Oh, wonderful. Now, since we've heard how the book came to be, please, right now we can go into the book and get some of the wisdom that you have to share from the book.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a kind of a crazy story. In the middle of that story is
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to build a successful investment business, and we built it
Mm-hmm.
to $1 billion from zero. And I
Yeah.
surrounded myself with a bunch of people much smarter than myself, and we grew the successful practice up and down the East Coast. And then about 20 years later, we ran into 2008, the financial crisis, and all the trouble
Mm-hmm.
that happened there. And as a lot of these firms were shut down and companies were accused of things, I actually decided to defend my people. And it's a long story throughout the book, but basically I went to trial against the United States government to
Mm-hmm.
defend our company, and I didn't accept 3 separate settlement offers.
Okay.
And no one really told me that 98.5% of those trials end in conviction. And
Mm-hmm.
5 weeks later, in a real bizarre narrative, I was actually convicted and sentenced to 14 years in prison.
Whoa.
And then during that journey, they certainly, all your resources are removed. So I had to then teach myself federal criminal law.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up defending the case myself and reversed it. It was reversed twice by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and 2 federal judges were removed from the case. And then 7 years later, I was finally released, and that was last year. And
Ah.
so it was a very long, violent journey
Yeah.
that that is mirrored by the protagonist in the book as he's trying to convey these lessons to young Cole Johnson. There's a lot of that story that is inside the book. So I've been very fortunate to have made it back, and
Okay.
have learned a great deal. And I'm trying to convey some of those lessons that I've learned and some of the great people that have supported me in the book, Just One More.
Oh, wonderful. So the book was written after you were released.
It was actually written while I was in, and
Mm-hmm.
I was working very hard. I submitted over 500 motions and letters and writs to try to show the truth for our company and to try to win my release. And so at
Mm-hmm.
the same time I was working all day on that, I was drafting the book. So it was about a 3-year project that we finally had the ability to get it published once I was released.
Okay. How long after you were released?
It was actually just over a year today. Was I
Mm-hmm.
released back to home confinement, they call it,
Yeah.
and so the book was published about 2 months ago, and so we
Okay.
were able to get all that done once I was home.
So wonderful. So Bob Vukovic is
Right.
actually is that now you represented in the book?
Well, it's not really me, but what
Yeah.
we do see is that Bob's life and his challenges do somewhat mirror the journey that I've experienced the last decade. And Bob is
Ah.
able to impart a lot of wisdom to his proteges, but Also, he's quite a troubled person at times, and he has many
Yeah.
fallibilities, himself. And so it's a little bit about, there is no black and white in the world. Most things are gray, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something about the human fallibilities and the human challenges we go through while
Yeah.
trying to lead the best life possible.
Ah, okay. We get that. So, is it one long story or is parts of stories like I have seen other books being written?
Right. Well, as in your book, Be Good for Good, there's
Yeah.
all of those fantastic stories and parables and narratives teaching an individual lesson. I have
Yeah.
to say my favorite in your book is I love that story of the donkey when he's in the hole and they're shoveling the dirt on top of him and he shakes it off and he stomps it down and he keeps stomping it down and at the end of the day, he makes it all the way to the top and walks out. I'd have
Oh,
to say the last 10 years of my life, I felt like that donkey, and
yeah.
and I knew that I had to keep shaking it off, stomping it down, making a better foundation and get out. So I
Ah,
love, that was my favorite one. Thank you. And
yeah. Thank you
in,
too.
uh, in just one more, similarly, there are these 15 lessons that
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to convey that some are very actionable, practical things we can grasp today. Because I know
Mm,
we've all read hundreds of books, we've attend all these seminars, we want to get as much
mm-hmm.
education as possible. So I wanted to make it as actionable as possible that you could read the book, take those ideas, take those concrete, tangible tasks and
Yeah.
lead a better life tomorrow. And that
Yeah.
may be, and that can be like on how to throw a great party for building your business, how to
Uh-huh.
host an amazing golf tournament, all these kind of silly little things that Bob talks about. But then also there's all these underlying themes of one of my favorite chapters is why not me? And I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that if we get the why not me attitude, it it is the most critical thing that we could do in our life. That there are
Yeah.
so many of us that live mostly in fear, and we
Mm-hmm.
never take that chance. We never
Mm,
try for that promotion. We never ask out that beautiful woman we want to ask out. And so all these
mm,
things we miss in our life. And so there's all these ideas of like, why not me? Um, Writing down your amazing life. I knew when I was in prison that there's a lot of despair and
mm,
there's not much hope. And one of the things I had always kept in work, I'd always
mm-hmm.
kept a drama list in my portfolio. Oh my gosh, these are all the things we got to get done. We're never going to get them done. It'll never work. But as you know, you
Yeah.
gradually check each one off the list. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
reversed that when I was going through my own worst time. And I actually wrote down all the amazing things that have happened to me in my life and all the
Yeah.
gifts that I've been given. And
Mm-hmm.
and it really helped me then experience a lot of gratitude. And I knew that even if I never did anything else again, I've lived in an amazing life. And of course,
Yeah.
I knew that eventually we'd get through this.
Mm-hmm.
We everything would get better. But it's so then I actually started making a new list, a new bucket list,
Yeah.
and these are all the things I wanted to accomplish forward. So by going through some of these exercises, it gave me a lot of appreciation and stopped me from depression and despair. And then it
Mm-hmm.
also got me excited and motivated about what was next. And I knew that
Yeah.
eventually I would get through this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we just got to, as your book talks about, that's how we just got to get up every day
Yeah.
and put one foot in front of the other. I
Mm-hmm.
used to write on the chalkboard every day, keep the faith, finish the race.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so that's what we've tried to accomplish with this book is tell a good
Okay.
narrative, a good parable, but also give people actionable lessons, but also inspirational lessons that help us all
Yeah.
have a better view, put a better lens on our camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. And I agree with you that one of the main reasons why we writers write is that the person reading whatever we've written may take what is in it, draw the lessons out of that which he or she has read, and apply it in their own lives so that they can improve their own lives. Because as I talk to people, I tell them you have to go and work at being the best version of yourself. And one of the ways is to provide them with these ideas that we have gathered along the way. And so, yeah, I agree with you. And on that note, can you give us a sneak view on Why Not Me, the story?
Right. Well, in this book takes place inside a bistro restaurant bar in Norfolk, Virginia, and
Yeah.
that's where these people kind of gather for a happy hour
Mm-hmm.
every Thursday. And inside there, Bob Vukovich is has met his young mentee Cole Johnson, and he's
Yeah.
providing him this wisdom and these lessons once a week. And they build a
Mm-hmm.
friendship, and they a lot of the story grows out of that. But at the very
Yeah.
beginning, young Cole sees a beautiful woman sitting by herself at the end of the bar, and he begins to talk to himself that she's too beautiful. There must be someone else coming to talk to her. She is out of his league. And as we
Yeah.
all know, in business or in life, we constantly think that other people are smarter, better, stronger than us, and
Mm-hmm.
we think
Mm-hmm.
that we're out of our league. And so Bob gives young Cole the confidence to go over there and talk to her. And from there, they build a great relationship, Jamie
Mm-hmm.
and Cole. And what they talk about is all of our experiences about if we just said, why not me? It would work.
Mm-hmm.
Russ, the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks,
Mm-hmm.
is an undersized young man, and he told after he won the Super Bowl that his father always told him, somebody's
Yeah.
got to go out for the football team, somebody's got to be the quarterback, somebody's got to be the
Mm-hmm.
captain of the team. Why not me? And I know in
Mm-hmm.
business, like I said, we were able to grow $1 billion business out of a very small town here in Virginia. And I
Mm-hmm.
really believe it came from I would travel to Wall Street and to New York, and I'd meet all these people who made zillions of dollars and were
Mm-hmm.
ruling empires and had thousands of employees. And by being exposed to them, it taught me they're just like us. There's
Yeah.
nothing different. They're worried about their teenage daughter or their son and the
Mm-hmm.
grades at school and all the same problems that you and I have, but we
Yeah.
hold them on this pedestal. And until we say, wait a minute, why not me? I can do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
I can get that college scholarship. I can
Mm-hmm.
start that business. I can be a great motivational speaker like Anthony.
Yeah.
Those type of, we have to have that concept and just constantly. I actually, we talk about it in the book, we put little post-it notes on our mirror in our bathroom in the morning. We put "Why
Mm-hmm.
not me" on our screensaver on our laptop. And we just have to have that constant reminder, because otherwise fear overtakes us all day long. And we get
Yeah.
caught in the daily grind of life and the thousand
Mm.
things we all have to get done today, but none of those are A items on our list. And so we
Yeah.
never do those big leaps because of fear. And I think, honestly, I think one of the great reasons we are all down on the planet this time around is to
Mm-hmm.
overcome fear. And if we can
Yeah.
focus on that, we can lead, a fantastic life that we never thought was even possible. And that's the concept of that lesson.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, there are so many people who are going through issues and they are doing jobs they don't like. They are in some relationships that they don't also like, and they
Correct.
could be suffering because they are fearing if they took a step, is going to be devastating to them. So, what would you advise someone who has not asked himself yet or herself yet, why not him or her?
That's a great question. As I've had the great opportunity to build 6 or 7 small businesses. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really enjoy bringing young people into the company who maybe haven't had exposure to a lot of different education or life experiences.
Yeah.
And one of the themes that Bob Vukovich talks about is life is all about exposure. And once
Mm-hmm.
you get exposure, then you start to get confidence. And then you understand that you can do that also. The opportunity for
Yeah.
somebody like me to get to talk to somebody like you today, it gives me great motivation to try to do great things like you do. I mean, you're a great role
Mm-hmm.
model for just making that choice. So what I try to do is have people experience success in small little steps every day. Because if
Mm-hmm.
we get out of our comfort zone with the small things, then when we're
Yeah.
faced with these big challenges, whether they're positive or negative, um, we then have this self experience. It's all about confidence. And inside, deep, deep down in our souls, if we believe that we're doing the right thing,
Yeah.
that the universe will align with us and we'll have confidence to do it. I know when I went
Okay.
through my challenge and I had to dig deep down and say, I was terrified, literally
Mm-hmm.
terrified, and I was about to lose everything that we
Yeah.
had built for 20 years. And
Uh-huh.
I talked to my son. My son was on his way to college. And
Yeah.
I said, my father taught me simply do the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do. And I tried to
Exactly.
always keep that, centered on that, like your book talks
Mm-hmm.
about. And
Mm-hmm.
so I thought about if I didn't stand up now during the greatest challenge of my life, then
Mm-hmm.
everything that I had taught my son wouldn't stand for anything. And
Yeah.
and so I think if we build ourselves up day by day by day, trying to do the right thing, trying to build confidence, trying to build knowledge, when we're faced with these huge dramatic nuclear challenges, it gives
Yeah.
us just that little bit more power and confidence to say, you know what, I've been through a lot, I can do this too. And so
Yeah.
it helped me make that decision, and it was a tough decision to go through the trials of this. But I really
Mm-hmm.
look back on it, and even though it's been a horrible experience and all these terrible things happened, um, I believe I would make all those same decisions again today. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that I'm coming out the other side. Our shareholders and stakeholders and all these charities and organizations that we supported
Mm-hmm.
who were hurt through this whole process, I really believe that we're going to be able to restore everything for everyone. I believe we're going to be able to write this great final chapter to this story, and we're well on the way already. Um, and and so I think we have to say, why not me? We have to overcome fear
Yeah.
because the universe is going to give us a lot of challenges, and
Yeah.
we have to have the courage to stand up for those.
Yeah. Sure. No, that's very good. And one thing I like about this is because I know for someone who's been somewhere, he can always get back there very easily because he knows the way. So if you've been there, you've made the billion company, then I mean, you're the right person to get back up there. And it's going to happen to you because you know the way.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I hope you're right. One of the other lessons is we used to teach all of our younger employees is in business. if you spend your whole day giving referrals to everyone else to ask for one in your, and
Yeah.
I think that that's really true. And what I'm trying to do and what I've tried to do, when I was in prison, I would spend most of my day working on legal motions for all the rest of the people who had no one else to help them.
Yeah.
And I just believed that that was the right thing to do. But also by helping all of them, I learned so much more about the law as I was starting from zero there too, that I then in turn
Okay.
helped myself. And so I really believe that if we can spend all day figuring out ways to help other people in the community, it comes
Yeah.
back to us 10 times over. So we do it for the
Yeah.
right
Sure.
reasons, hopefully, but it also is a major law of attraction. So
Yeah.
as I'm trying to rebuild for myself and our stakeholders, there are certainly a lot of people out there when you were on the front pages of the newspaper, when you stood up to the corporations and the government, there's a lot of people who don't want to see you succeed. So every day, you know, we have to get out of bed and say, why not me? And give
Yeah.
ourselves this amazing talk. Because what a lot of people out there would like to see you do is run away and hide in fear and be in the center of the flock. They don't want to see you do all the things. They want you to, you know, have a lot of sorrow. But the problem is that doesn't fix anything. So if you
Yeah.
have all these things to fix, great leadership says, you know what, I can be depressed, I can be scared, I can run away, or I can try to have the greatest attitude possible every day and fix it. And that's where I think at the Air Force Academy, we learned a lot about leadership and courage and some amazing people that just do unbelievable things in the face of danger. And so in my little story compared to all of that, my job is to make everything better and do the right thing and fix it as opposed to talk about it.
That's very good. And we need more people like you in this world right now.
Well,
And
that's awfully kind of you to say. You know, actions speak greater than words. And so, you know, every day we're trying to make forward progress on this for everyone. And reading your book, seeing your speaking, a lot of that gives me that motivation to keep getting out of bed every day and keep doing it.
oh, thank you too for that compliment. One thing here that we have to get, it's not everybody who goes into jail and comes out positively. It's not everybody who has an idea to write a book, begins the book, and finish it. It takes a lot of
Finish it
discipline.
right.
It takes a lot of motivation. It's not so. What do you credit all that to? Is it the Air Force or is there something? Of course, I know once you have been into the Air Force, you get some good, someone of discipline. Please tell us how
Sure.
that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm often asked about the book. You know, is Bob Vukovich one mentor, or is it an amalgamation of many mentors? And I believe the answer is it's really many.
Yeah.
One thing in my life, I've been so fortunate to have many great mentors. My father led a Horatio Alger novel type life, very poor, didn't have a father, but he refused to be a victim. And
Okay.
he educated himself, and he led a great life up into the high levels of government service for our country. And then certainly at the Air Force Academy and through sports, I met many great leaders. And then even when I started into business in the finance world, I was really fortunate to work for some really smart people in the investment industry. And not only were they great investors, they did business the right way. They took care of their
Yeah.
clients, they took care of the
Mm-hmm.
investors, and they knew that, again, by doing that, everybody would prosper. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've been really fortunate. I've had an amazing life so far, and a lot of fortunate breaks, and a lot of kind people who have taken care of me.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I feel especially after being through this experience, I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot more to give. I have a lot
Yeah.
more to contribute. And so
Mm-hmm.
hopefully I'm going to play more of the role of Bob Vukovich and helping, mentoring and coaching and cheerleading a lot of other people and organizations out there to lead their best life.
And you're doing quite good right now. I mean, you've come out
Well,
and
thank you.
come out shining and moving, and you've not
Well,
stopped. Now, uh, just a few hours ago, I have to tell you this. Just a few hours ago, I listened to one of my most admired motivational speakers, and I know he's known to many. He's quite he's catching up in age right now, but he's still strong and doing it. His name is Les Brown.
sure.
I happened to listen to one of his video. It was a voice recording, but it's on YouTube. And I don't know how I came to listen to it. I said, okay, let me listen to him. And when I clicked, and the video started, he started speaking in the video. I could hear that he's not all right. I could hear as if he has some cotton wool in the mouth, and I'm asking, hey, why is his voice like that? And then he continues to talk, and he says, I was not meant to do a recording. I mean, I had planned to do a recording today, but according to the occurrences of the day, I was not actually to do it, but I have to do it because I have to do it. I have been to the dentist in the morning, and now it's time to do recording, but I will still do it even though I have been to the dentist.
That's good.
So you've
That's
got to
great.
do it despite anything. You've got to keep on pushing. And
Right.
despite where you've been, whether you've been in prison, whether you've been let down by other people, denied, I mean, you've just got to keep on moving despite everything.
Right. There's no
Yeah.
other answer. One of
Yeah.
the other things in the book, one of the other lessons is really about understanding people's self-interests.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of time in the world today, we think about, self-interest is selfishness
Yeah.
and we should be more, but in reality, I believe it works the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, couple hundred years ago about
Yeah.
if that's why we have a butcher and that's why we have a carpenter and that's why we have all these different people in a village that
Yeah.
very, very much like in Kenya, that everybody
Mm-hmm.
plays a different role. And so there's a symbiotic relationship that
Mm-hmm.
everybody prospers together. And
Yeah.
so, what I believe, especially in business and in charities that I've run, is
Mm-hmm.
if we align people's self interest together and then we
Mm-hmm.
align those interests with the common good,
Mm-hmm.
the exponential power of that is unbelievable. So many
Yeah.
times we align the way we pay our employees or how we set up a fundraiser for a charity. They're kind of competing interests. But if
Mm-hmm.
we can set us all up on the same side of the table, so I was
Mm-hmm.
very fortunate. For many, many years, I was the president of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, a great
Mm-hmm.
charity here that is a mentoring for children who need a great mentor role model. And it's an
Okay.
amazing charity because I've seen the statistics and I've lived it for so many years. The impact it makes on these kids is off the
Mm-hmm.
charts. And so I was appointed the president of our regional group here. And unfortunately, it was very underperforming. The
Mm-hmm.
budget was in the red. And there were
Yeah.
a couple hundred children on the waiting list to get a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what I did is we basically brought in some capitalism and some self-interests and all of these type of things and created contracts and work policies where we hired fundraisers that were motivated the right way to raise funds because they prospered also. And we brought in more people to be on the board who would prosper if they got the organization going the right direction. And about 12 months later, we had quadrupled the budget of the charity, and every single child was off the waiting list. And then the whole thing was thriving, and an incredible amount of goodness going on from that. But it was a very simple answer. It was simply aligning everyone's interest into the for the objective we wanted to accomplish. And I think that that's one thing that we miss a lot in our government, in our corporations, in our communities. If you can understand what someone's self-interest is, then you can create a model or a compensation plan or some type of motivation so that that human being achieves what they want to achieve and the organization does also. So I think that's kind of key for these.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I think that's what Jim Rohn used to call enlightened self-interest.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where where it's for the common good. Anything that you're doing is for the common good. I mean, you're not being selfish. You have an interest, yes, but for you to push that interest you have forward, then make sure that it's going to be for the common good. It's going to help the organization or the country or the community. You have some self-interest, but whatever it is that you're going to get from what you're going to get is going to benefit the overall good.
Right. And then the product of that is, there's even another lesson in the book about the halo effect. And you've seen that, so these people who are successful, it's like they have this halo effect. It creates success to all these other people around them. And also those kind of people, when maybe they're not even having some success right now, a little few failures, it seems like that they'll always get back there. I think I talked somebody like Michael Jordan. If he's having a bad game, well, that's just a fluke. Tomorrow there's going to be another game. Or some organization like the New York Yankees. There are certain organizations and certain people that just seem to win more than everyone else. And it's because they have that why not me attitude, but then they create this halo effect that for Michael Jordan, if you look at the players that came to play on his team, not only was he way better, especially when he figured out he's got to help all these other guys to really win the championships, but all the players that came to play with him played at a much higher level than they had played on previous teams.
Yeah.
And so it truly is a halo that affects positive energy and confidence to all the people around them. Or Goldman Sachs, has this premier reputation on Wall Street. But at the end of the day, Goldman Sachs doesn't pay higher interest on their bank accounts. They don't really make a higher rate of return on their portfolios than other good money managers. But for some reason, we all think they're the best. And it's just these reputation of being through it all these years, creating that halo that then we all believe it also.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, I have one question. Who is this book dedicated to?
This book is dedicated to my beautiful wife, Ashley. And
Oh,
I want to tell you that a true story. And I knew Ashley, and we were good friends. And
yeah.
when I went to prison, she sent me a letter
Mm-hmm.
about a year after I had been there, and
Yeah.
she said, "I love you, and I needed to tell you that, and I'm going to stick with you." And
Uh-huh.
it's an amazing. So my whole wild story, she says, it's really just a love story.
Yeah.
she she stuck with me the
Yeah.
whole time and was incredible supporter. And we thought we were going to get out so many times because we knew it
Mm-hmm.
would be overturned, but it wasn't, and it wasn't, and it wasn't, and it's a terrible thing that your loved ones have to go through. Um,
Yeah.
but when I was released last year, I was able to be with her. And believe it or not, we actually, another miracle, we have a young baby girl, Carly, on the way in the month of September. So we've been
Oh.
incredibly
Oh.
blessed. And I am the
Oh.
luckiest guy in the world to have Ashley. So it says, to Ashley, for
Yes.
1,000 years and 1,000 more.
Oh, wonderful. That's so wonderful. And it's good to have some loved one who sticks with you to the very end. When you have someone supporting your dream,
Absolutely.
and it's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody says, like, everybody always asks me, like, how did that happen? How was she with you? And I
Uh-huh.
say, some mysteries of the universe can never be explained.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get you. And I agree with you. Now let's see the book. Let me see the book. Let me see the book that you the book. I want to see the book.
Yep.
We want to
Yes,
see the
sir.
book. We
Very
are
good.
waiting for the book. just just one more.
Just
Yeah,
one
just
more.
one more. The wisdom of Bob Vukovic.
Bob Vukovich.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
it's just one more.
Yes.
So wonderful. That's great. And I think, and I don't think it's only me. We have some people who are watching. At least I can see we have Victoria Missiani, we have Susi Kalamajoli. I have not received any questions, but they could be coming after we are through because the video is going to remain. And I don't think it's only me who is left with this question. But if it's only me, then excuse me. But just one more what?
Well, that is a good question. It kind of started off, honest answer there is it kind of started off as when we would go to the bistro and they would
Yeah.
say, would you like another martini? We would say, just one more, but then I've got to go. And what
Okay.
it turned into is really a metaphor for, one more lesson, one more life
Okay.
experience, one
Ah,
more,
okay.
and most importantly, one more challenge. Because
Okay.
through the theme of the narrative of the book is, you know, as Bob is imparting all this wisdom for his young protege, really, is Bob going to learn life's most important lesson about,
Okay.
success is really defined as getting up one more time than we've been knocked down.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
will Bob finally get out of the desert and
Mm-hmm.
find his oasis again and kind of re-engage in this amazing game
Oh.
of life? And so
Oh.
that's kind of the theme is, does Bob have the energy to just one more time give this competitive game of life one more good run?
Oh. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's very wonderful. And I see Jeffrey is going to make it one more. Just
Well,
one more time. He's
thank you,
gonna make
sir.
it.
I appreciate that. I am counting on it. And people like you and your motivation and your books are a great inspiration for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it so much. It gives me the power to give it a shot.
Yeah, thank you too. I appreciate that. And before we through, you talk when you're talking about the just one more. You mentioned just one more challenge. What has, in general, what impact has the challenges that you've been through? Uh, what are they? I mean, how do you credit the challenges you've been through to the accomplishments that you've made along the way?
Well, I think I think the goal for all of us is to get a little wiser and a little more wiser every
Yeah,
year. And
yeah,
I am certainly a big believer that we don't learn a great deal from our great success. Those
yeah.
are those are easier times, and many times we can take our eye off the ball. Um, I think for our soul to experience the journey that it's going to experience, and for us to become as good of a person, and for us to live that life that maybe when we started this journey we wanted to, we
Mm-hmm.
have to have a lot of challenges,
Yeah.
hardships make us stronger. um,
Mm-hmm.
each generation, I also believe I've been very fortunately in our lives, we want to uh, not take the bad from our previous experiences, but take the good, get stronger, get wiser. So
Mm-hmm.
if we've all met people who have maybe led a life that they hadn't seen a lot of challenges, and they might have been
Mm-hmm.
gifted a bunch of things, and
Mm-hmm.
it's many times it's very obvious that they're not seeing the big picture of what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. So I am very thankful for the challenges, but I will tell you this. Um, there were so many times that it could have went left instead of right. Viktor Frankl talks about in his books, Man's Search for Meaning, when he was in the concentration camps during World War II. So many
Mm-hmm.
times he could have turned left or been in the line on the right or the line on the left, and he, and his life could have ended. Um, so I think that there is certainly some type of universal force out there that has saved me so many times to allow me to
Mm-hmm.
be back to the spot today, because so many terrible things could have happened, as with all of us, that it gives you the knowledge in the strong belief that there's a lot more out there taking care of us if we would just be
Mm-hmm.
quiet enough to listen and allow the outcome to happen. We've got to do as much hard work every day, because God only helps those who help themselves, I believe. But as long as we keep doing the right thing, trying to do as much good as possible every day, we're going to reap
Yeah.
a lot of rewards.
Great. 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 Thank you very much. Uh, I had a comment a few days ago from someone, an interesting comment. I come from Africa, and you might have heard of Nelson Mandela. Have you?
Absolutely. I have read many books on Nelson, and I'm a huge fan.
Okay. Then I come
27
from, yeah,
years.
yeah. Okay, good. Then coming from Kenya, we had one man known as Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya. You know about him?
I do not.
You do not. Okay, you may not know about him. But this was the comment. The comment was that Nelson Mandela went to prison and came out a great man and led the country. And Jomo Kenyatta went into prison and came out a great man and led the country. And now I'm seeing Jeffrey, who has been to prison. He's come out. He's going to be a great man. And I'm ordered to be him. And the guy was saying, uh, can I also go to prison to come out great? No, I don't have to go to prison. I'm going to read Jeffrey's book and learn his experiences, avoid his mistakes, do what is done right, and I don't have to go there.
I think that's a much better path.
That's a
Definitely,
much better.
definitely.
So, to all those who are listening now, to those who are watching the recorded version of this video, please get Jeffrey's book. But before he goes, there's always that parting shot, something that you like us to remember, even when we have cleared with this show. Please tell us.
Well, I would say maybe one last thing is at the beginning of the book is a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. And it's a very famous quote that a lot of people know, the man in the arena. And he said that in a speech, I believe it was in 1910 in Paris. But what he talks about, the man in the arena, even though he stumbled and scarred and exhausted and bloodied from battle, he is still ahead of those timid souls in the audience that are judging him and critiquing him. So at least he had the guts to get out there. So what I would want everybody to do is today, be the man in the arena. And what is something that scares us today? And what is something we've been wanting to do, but we're a little scared to do, whether it's mend a relationship with a friend or a relative, or maybe it's start that business we just have always wanted to do. I think if we jump into the arena, that's the whole purpose of why we're here.
Oh, that's a great quote and some great advice. To all those who are listening out there, please jump into the arena and get get Jeffrey's book and do what you have to do. Go after your dreams and achieve what you have to achieve. Don't be worried about those people who are going to judge you, those people who are going to throw stones at you, people who are going to say you're not doing it right. Anyway, you may be doing it not so right, but if you learn the correct way, you are better off than those people who are on the trenches. So thank you very much, Jeffrey. It's been a great, great honor to have you on my show.
Thank you so much.
Believe me.
So greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you to all the viewers, those who watched us live and those who are watching the recorded version of this. Thank you very much. God bless you. And just one more. Stay tuned. Bye.
Thank you, Anthony. Have a great day.
Yeah, bye. Same. Have a great day.